So in this video we'll be taking a completely impartial look at the Samsung QN90A and we'll be asking what's good and bad about it, and should this be a TV that you consider purchasing. Now there are some things which we absolutely love about this machine, and sadly there are some things that we absolutely hate. Let's get started. Don't forget to hit the red button to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up and click the notification bell to get my next video first. Now I have already done a few videos about this TV, like the unboxing, and I'll leave the links to those in the description and up above. Okay, we're going to be covering a few different things in this video. We'll be separating it into different timestamps, and those can also be found in the description. The first thing that we're going to be covering is the design. Now for full disclosure, we paid full retail value for this TV, which in the UK was roughly around £2,500, just slightly under, with a special promotion that they had. So this isn't a cheap machine, this is the 65-inch version. Let's take a look at design first of all. Now for me, one of the things that Samsung have definitely got right is the design. This machine is thinner than the previous model last year, the Q90T. It also comes with that large, heavy central stand, and you've got that cable management on the back. The actual plastic of this is okay. It doesn't feel particularly great, but it's certainly not offensive in any way. And as you can see, it is about 50% thinner than the Q90T. Another thing which I really like are the very small bezels, thin bezels around the edge. It means that you're just led and drawn into the picture. You're not concentrating on any black horrible plastic all around the edge of it. So again, it looks brilliant from the front. And I really like that central stand. It lifts the TV off of the unit, which for some might be a problem, but for me, I think it's great. It enables you to have things like a soundbar underneath. And as you can see here, I've got my Sonos Beam, and also there's plenty enough room for a Sonos Arc. This is an important feature that a lot of TVs don't have. Yeah, I'm talking to you, LG. Now I've given connectivity as a bad because there is only one HDMI port 2.1 giving full 4K 120 HDR experience. Although it does transpire that the other three ports will give you 4K at 120, but only if HDR is turned off. Now that might not be a problem for some, but why couldn't they just given us the same as what's on the QN95A? As with previous models, you get two remote controls. This one, which is the boxy, plasticky thing, which doesn't look particularly great, and then the newer version of the slimmed down one. This one actually doesn't feature any batteries at all, well, not any batteries that you have to put in. It is rechargeable, and it's also got a solar panel on the back, which again is another step forward. How well it works, well, only time will tell, but at the moment it seems pretty good. The TV runs the similar Tizen software from previous versions, but it's got the new Neo QLED quantum processor. Now, the first thing that you'll notice with all of the pictures on this straight away is how bright the thing is, and also how quick the operating system is. It works like lightning. There is absolutely no delay at all. It really is very impressive. The other thing which is incredible is the upscaling. I found everything from standard definition footage right up to HD footage was just brilliant. It looked very natural, the colours were great, the black level detail, which we'll go into in a second, was something I just couldn't believe on a QLED. And in fact, I have done a video of this side by side with my OLED, the LG C1, also from 2021, and well, the difference is very minimal. They've done an incredible job at black levels this year. Now, one of the big things that you need to bear in mind is your usage. Where is this TV going to be in your setup, and what type of setup do you have, and when are you going to be watching TV? So for instance, if you've got a bright room where it's lots going on, there's big windows, and you're watching TV during the day and when it's bright, here in the UK at the moment we're approaching summertime and it's not going to get dark until 10 o'clock at night. Well, this is the type of TV that will be perfect in those situations. There are many people that comment on my videos that will only go with OLED, and they think the OLED is right all the time. And I can assure you guys that is not the case, because it's your usage situation that really does make a difference. And so you really do have to put some thought into what type of setup you've got. Most OLEDs, in fact all OLEDs, will be dimmer than this TV. There isn't an OLED that can compete with the brightness level of this TV. And so in a bright room, this is something that you may want to consider. Now, there definitely is a flip side to that, because where this TV does exceptionally well in a bright room, it doesn't do as well as an OLED in a dark room. Now, you'll notice I've not given this a good or bad rating because I think it would be unfair for me to do that. An OLED will always do better in a dark room scenario, and they'll do better in HDR in those environments. And although this is getting close, it's just not quite there yet. So if your usage is in darker environments, watching lots of darker HDR content, well then you might want to be heading towards the OLED market rather than the Neo QLED. Now, gaming on this TV is just incredible. The brightness that you get, the black levels, I was just blown away. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And although I'm playing on the QN90A and I'm also been using the LG C1 OLED, if I'm being completely honest, guys, I can't tell that much difference between the two of them. There may be just a few scenes that the LG C1 just takes the prize, but where there's a few scenes that just does a better job maybe in darker scenes, certainly the brightness of this, it really does need to be seen to be believed. It is just incredibly bright. Now, obviously, there is that issue with the ports where only one of them is HDMI 2.1, giving you full HDR at 10-bit. But again, most people will probably just have one main console that they play all the time. So again, we're looking at potential problems when maybe they aren't there. And although it would be nice, and I think that really Samsung should have just put HDMI 2.1 ports on all of them, are we causing a problem, or are we talking about a problem that doesn't exist? You let me know in the comments, guys. Now, another thing I wanted to pick up on, which again I think is a big improvement this year from Samsung, is JUDR, motion handling. There is no visible signs of any stutter when playing these games. And in fact, when watching any type of TV, this is definitely a marked improvement forward on previous versions. Now, obviously, depending on what you're watching this back on, you may see something, but certainly in reality, there is none visible at all. Now, one of the things that Samsung unfortunately has not got an amazing reputation for, and that's DSE, or dirty screen effect. And sadly, on the model that I had, this was still present. And this is really disappointing because all the speculation and the information coming from Samsung was that this was not going to be an issue this year. And when I did run a few tests, well, I just kept on seeing these lines. There's some on the right hand side, as you can see, almost like a band. Now, it's probably a little bit more difficult for you to see as I've recorded this, but again, let me know in the comments. But these bands continued right across the screen. There was some over on the left hand side, as you can see, a line there, one in the middle, and there was even a line right going through horizontal right through the middle. And when I ran the test of running through different types of colors, well, then that became even more obvious. And the worrying thing with this is that this was a TV which was literally just a few hours old when we were picking up these signs. Now, what I would say is that this is definitely not present on every Samsung TV. I had the Q90T last year, and that was a brilliant TV with zero sign of this image. But here are some photographs which I took, which just show you the dirty screen effect, and it's really disappointing that it's still present this year. So just because I've had this particular issue with this particular screen, I don't think it's a reason to necessarily not purchase this TV. Certainly with the Q90T, I had no issue at all in 2020. But it has left me just considering my options. Now, I have now sent this TV back, and I'm deciding what to do. One of my big criteria is that this TV will sit on a wall directly opposite a window, and that's why I'm thinking an OLED would just be no good whatsoever. It's in a family room as well, it's in a bright room, and so therefore that's why I'm leaning back towards the QLED. But let me know whether you think I should decide or try a different TV. It's got to be something that handles reflections very well. But this is something that I would recommend that you do when you first purchase this TV. Do a quick test, because if you are having this type of issue, then you need to swap it out straight away or change it for a different TV. So my friends, let's summarize. Providing you don't get the same issue that I had with the DSE, which is not apparent on all of the models, so don't let that put you off, then you are getting an incredible TV with the QN90A. The picture quality is better than most TVs on the market at the moment, and the way that it handles black level is just insanely good. Upscaling of normal TV content again is a dream. Couple of tiny little minors were when we talked about the gaming connections. It would have been great to have had 4 full HDMI 2.1 ports, but again, to some people that is not going to be an issue at all. This TV is probably one of my favourite TVs for general everyday purpose in a bright room. You saw the example of the room that this was sat in, and it did an incredible job. The brightness is just amazingly good. So that is something which is a big factor for this TV. So really concentrate on your usage. If your usage is going to be in an everyday family room, then a big bright TV like this is probably going to be more appropriate for you than an LG OLED or Sony OLED. However, if you're mainly working all day, coming home at night, and then you're going to be throwing on Netflix and watching darker HDR content, well then that's when probably the OLED will come into its own. So that's my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I don't profess to be a complete expert. This is just a passion of mine. I love TVs. I love looking at the good and bad about them. And I love that my reviews are completely 100% independent because I'm paying for these TVs myself. Thanks again for watching this video. If there's any questions, please do leave them below. And I really do look forward to seeing you on the next.